Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you're a developer who's about to dive into the world of Guidewire. Well, you've come to the perfect spot. We're going to break it all down in this first look guide. Let's get right into it.
You know that feeling, right? You're looking at this huge, powerful new platform, and just where do you even start? It can be totally overwhelming. So today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. The whole point here is to give you a really clear, high-level map of the Guidewire world so you can jump in and start building with some real confidence.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll cover what Guidewire is, then dig into its core data model, the business logic, and the user interface. Then we'll see how it all clicks together and finish up with some key best practices. I like to think of it like building a house. We'll start with the foundation, put up the frame, design the inside, and then talk about the rules for living there. Let's go. Okay, let's kick things off. What is Guidewire, really? At its heart, it's all about a three-tiered architecture. Seriously, if you get this one concept, everything else we talk about today is going to fall right into place. So the whole platform is basically split into these three distinct layers. Think about it this way. At the very bottom, you've got the data layer. This is the concrete foundation holding all your business data. Then in the middle, you have the application layer. That's the framing and the wiring, the brains of the operation that makes everything work. And finally, on top is the presentation layer. That's the paint, the windows, the stuff the user actually sees and touches, the UI. All right, let's dive into that foundation. We're starting at the bottom with the data model. And honestly, this is where it all begins. For any developer stepping into Guidewire, getting a handle on how the data is structured is, well, it's job number one. It's absolutely crucial. The core building block of this whole data layer is something called an entity. The best way to think of it? It's literally a blueprint. It's the design for a business object, like a policy or an account. It lays out exactly what information goes into it and maps it directly to a table in the database. Simple as that. Now, this is super important for you, the developer. You're going to be dealing with two kinds of entity files. First, there are the base.etki files. These are the out-of-the-box core Guidewire definitions. Rule number one, you don't touch these, ever. But then you have the .eix files. These are the enhancements. This is your playground. This is where all your customizations live, where you add your own fields and really make the platform fit the business. All right, our foundation is solid. Let's move up a level to the brains of the whole operation, the business logic. This is where we take all that data we just defined and actually make it do something using Guidewire's special programming language. And that language is called Gosu. It's a pretty cool modern language. It runs on the JVM, so hey, if you know Java, you're going to feel pretty comfortable here. All the application's logic lives in Gosu files. And look, it follows the same pattern we just saw with entities. You've got your base.gs files, and then your custom logic, your enhancements, go in the .gx files. See the pattern? Base and enhancement. Okay, but wait a second. Let's be real. Insurance rules are complicated. They change all the time. So how in the world do you manage all of that without just creating this giant tangled nightmare of hard-coded if statements in your Gosu code? There has to be a better way, right? Well, there is. And this is it. Guidewire's business rules engine. It is so powerful, instead of chaos, it gives you structure, a hierarchy. You start with a broad category, like validation. Then you create a rule set for a specific thing, like an account. And inside that, you create your individual rules. It's all just, if this happens, then do this. It's clean, it's flexible, and it's way, way easier to manage than a bunch of tangled code. Okay, so we've got the data foundation and the business logic brains. Time to put a face on this thing. Let's talk about the top layer, the user interface. This is all about what the end user is actually going to see and click on. So, in Guidewire, the UI is all built with something called PCF files. That stands for Page Configuration File. They're just XML files, and they're like blueprints for your screens. Now, what's really important to remember is that they are only for the layout. There's no business logic in here. It's just put this button here, put that text box there. And what do you put in these PCF files? You put widgets. These are like your Lego bricks for building the UI. You'll use them all the time. You've got your detail view for showing one thing, like a single account. You've got your list view for showing, a list of things, like all the policies for that account. Now I want you to pay special attention to the dropdowns. This trips people up. A type key cell is for a simple predefined list. Think a list of states. It's static. But a range cell is for a dynamic list that comes from an array of objects, like a list of currently active agents. It's a small difference in name, but a huge difference in practice. Okay, enough theory. That's all good, but how does this stuff actually work together in the real world? Let's walk through a super common task that you're definitely going to have to do and see how all three layers, data, logic, and UI, play together. So let's say your task is to add a new validation to a field. Here's how it goes. Step 1. You go to the data layer. You just check that the field exists in your enhancement EIX file. Easy. Step 2. You pop up to the application layer. Here, you create a new business rule that says, if the data in this field is bad, then reject it with this error message. Now for step 3, the presentation layer, and this is the cool part. You do nothing. Absolutely nothing. The PCF file is already showing the field, and Guidewire is smart enough to take that error message from your business rule and just pop it up on the screen for you. Isn't that awesome? It's how beautifully the layers are connected. All right, you've got the map of the city. Now let's talk about the rules of the road. These are some absolutely essential best practices that are going to save you a world of hurt and keep your projects running smoothly. The big takeaway here is this. Work with Guidewire, not against it. It's designed a certain way for a reason. For instance, if you want to get rid of an option in a dropdown, for the love of all that is holy, do not delete it from the database. You'll break everything. Instead, the Guidewire way is to just mark it as unavailable. It's hidden, but the history is safe. Same with validations. Do them at the page level with business rules. Don't try to be a hero and do it at the entity level. It's a recipe for disaster. And this should go without saying, but follow the deployment process. Dev, QA, prod. No cowboy coding directly to production. Just don't. I came across this quote from another developer, and it really hit home. They said, everything I learned from myself. Only through documenting, I have spent times of the working hours to learn these things. And that's just so true. It's a powerful reminder that mastering a platform this deep takes time, it takes dedication, and it takes a whole lot of reading the docs. It really is a journey. So if there's one thing you walk away with today, let it be this. Guidewire isn't just a random toolbox. It is a highly, highly structured platform. If you can really wrap your head around those three layers, data, application, and presentation, and how they talk to each other, you've got the master key. You'll understand how to build anything on it. Look, the structure is there to help you, not to limit you. The layers give you the map, Gosu gives you the engine, and the PCF widgets are your building blocks. You now have that core foundational knowledge. So the only question left is, are you ready to start building?